So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Aadi and Matt on stage here, and both of them are going to be here talking about all the things that you can actually do in terms of how you can best leverage all the tracks that we have going on and all the amazing ideas that you can build from a repository of things that we've already set up here to really make the next 2.5 weeks super amazing. So welcome, Matt and I, and I'll let you all get started.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Yeah, so my name's Matt Hamilton. I'm a developer advocate with Protocol Labs, specifically working on Filecoin and the FVM. And here I've got Aadi. If you want to introduce yourself as well, Aadi.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm Aadi Shidham. I'm the product lead for FVM. So you'll see me a lot working with Hangout, Kevin, and a bunch of the DX team, including Matt.
Oh, so the point of this talk is to quickly talk about the various tracks, some of the project ideas that we've got, some of the bounties, and also touch upon some of the bounties, not just on regarding FVM, which is the largest bounty here, but also some of the other related Protocol Labs technologies and bounties as well. Because one of the great things about hackathons is you can experiment, right? That's what they're all about. It's about experimentation. It's about learning. It's about building things. And there's a whole bunch of different technologies, both from within Protocol Labs and within Protocol Labs network and wider field, that are a part of this hackathon. So we'd love you to get involved and, put together these solutions, these ideas, these projects, these hackathon entries using all of these different technologies and see where you end up. So first of all, starting with FVM Filecoin Virtual Machine, we have $22,000 US dollars in prizes available specifically for FVM. So Sarah has just talked about FVM, so hopefully you have a good idea about what FVM is. It allows programmability on top of the Filecoin Virtual Machine. And we have 3 grand prizes, $5,000 paid in fill for 3 teams for the grand prizes, plus 14 runner-up projects of $500 worth of fill each. So the categories that we have set out here, if you've been involved in some of our other hackathons, you might recognize these. We've slightly tweaked them a little bit as we've been going on from feedback from the hackathons that we've had so far. But breaking it down, we have data DAOs. So you will have just heard Sarah talk a little bit about data DAOs. So the idea about having a decentralized autonomous organization that has some involvement with storing data, right? So examples might be industry specific for things like decentralized science, machine learning, or things like, a film show or exhibition or, film festival or something like that might want to store things. I'm going to go through each of these and then we'll switch over. I've got a tab of some FVM starter ideas, and we can go into a bit more detail on them, and then I'll come back and also talk about some of the other bounties we have available here. So DeFi, best DeFi tools on FVM. So just like other blockchains, other EVM blockchains, you can build DeFi, decentralized finance, on top. What is unique about FVM and unique about Filecoin is you have the whole storage provider ecosystem underneath that. So you have 3,500 storage provider systems on the network. They're all providing storage capacity to the network, right? So something in the region of about 12, 13 exabytes of data on the network. So this is all backed by physical storage systems, hard drives, SSDs around the world storing data. So you can build that, you can use that capability as part of a DeFi system. So it might be lending to storage providers. It might be allowing storage providers to borrow based upon future revenue that they can prove through the blockchain. If they take on a storage deal, they'll be paid over time for that storage deal. They can actually use that a bit like invoice factoring within traditional finance. So that's kind of where DeFi comes in. The next is tools, infra, and bridging. So this is an opportunity to bridge with other networks and other systems as well, and bring in some of their functionality. So things like decentralized ID, access control, for example, from some of the other blockchains. And also allows you to export the functionality of Filecoin out onto other networks. So using bridges and oracles and things like that as well. So bridges like Axelar, for example, oracles like Teller on the network, you can use those to export functionality out to other networks. Programmable storage markets. So this is regarding, like we said, storage. We've got the storage providers. Storage deals generally have a finite lifetime on the network. So programmable storage is building things like auto-renewing storage, auto-replicating storage, bounties for storage, optimizing storage sectors, right? The way in which storage is stored on the network. There might be a way in which you could optimize the way in which deals are aggregated together, for example. So that's to do with that. And then de-web it. So basically looking at current web services and applications into more open, secure and resilient sort of Web3 based, decentralized based systems using some of the other technologies within Protocol Labs as well. Hopefully that covers it. Did you want to say anything, Aadi, at this point, or shall I switch over to the starter ideas?
No, that sounds great.
Okay, so we've got a series of starter ideas here, and they're linked to from the bottom of the prizes. If you go down here, there's under inspiration, you'll see list of starter ideas. So that's what we've got here. And we've got a number of ideas here that you can kind of go through. So things like repair as a service, like we mentioned. For example, you store data is stored in the way of storage deals on the network between a client and a storage provider. And you might want to have that replicated multiple times for resilience using something like replication as a storage. But you could use repair as a storage to potentially automatically detect that data might not be stored to the level of replication you need or might have some fault with it, and that you can automatically repair or replicate that. So that's those two kind of top ones there. Renewal as a service, you can, like I said, storage deals run for a certain lifetime. So you might want to have something that automatically renews the storage deal at the end of the lifetime as well. Building off-chain storage deals. So the Filecoin network is built extremely flexibly, and it leaves a lot of how the actual storage deal is negotiated up to the users, right? So it doesn't all happen on-chain. A lot of it is left to happen off-chain, and then you can, once the deal is negotiated and agreed, that then is published on-chain, and it's then the blockchain's responsibility to query the storage providers to ensure that the data is stored. So there may be things that you want to do around how data is kind of aggregated and how those storage deals are actually built before they're passed to storage providers. Calling as a service. So this might be using things like cron jobs to regularly call functions on the FVM on the Filecoin network. So you might have something that needs to run periodically. So something like this could be very useful. Endowment managers. So again, you might have something that takes in a pool of fill and invests it on behalf of the users. So I might use something like Glyph that have a thing called Infinity Pool, which is one of the staking solutions. There's another Filet, for example, is another one that does staking. So you might have something that aggregates funds together and invests that on behalf of the users and uses the return of that investment to then fund storage, for example. Things like renewable energy certificates, so native renewable energy certificates, storing those on the network, and that's part of like Filecoin Green as well. As part of that, that's a service that we have. So things that deal with that would certainly be of interest. Zero knowledge proofs. So the FEM is the largest production use, I believe, of zero knowledge proofs at the moment. And there's a lot of other things you can build on top of that as well. So, and there's a link there to more information about that. Sustainability, Filecoin Green have a project called CO2 storage, and there are ideas that you might want to build upon that. Again, there's links to some of those ideas around energy validation, for example, certificates, credits, that kind of thing as well. Retrieve.org, this is a project that I believe is from Saturn. I think it's Aadi, or related to Saturn. And so this allows retrieval, like a retrieval oracle and retrieval assurances on the network. So this could be something that could check the network and ensure that stuff can be retrieved from the partners on there. IPC is the Interplanetary Consensus. So this is a project within Protocol Labs to work on the next generation of consensus mechanism that will take Filecoin scaling up to millions of transactions per second, and is going to be looking at using horizontal scalability with subnets, and you can have different subnets that allow you to run specific functionality on these subnets. So there's a number of ideas around how you could have a wallet that could run on different subnets, for example, how you can have things like eigenlayer for subnets. We've got multi-wallet subnets in there twice, I think. In there's a few in there. Visualizers, explorers, all these kind of things that kind of fit in with how IPC works there. On-chain storage deals, we've mentioned that. Data DAOs, we've talked about that. There's a bunch of ideas around data DAOs, incentivization, that kind of thing. IPNI Disputer. So IPNI is the Interplanetary Networking Index. It is the system that allows you to register when a system stores a content ID, a CID, you can register it with IPNI to allow people to find it. And there's some ideas around how you can ensure the integrity of that index and what people are reporting. So, ideas a bit like oracles, for example, incentivization for valid response or penalization for invalid stuff. And then finally, ideas around soul-bound tokens, again, for sustainability claims for storage providers. So a storage provider might say, hey, we have 100% renewable energy for our storage system. Well, how can you both prove that, and how can you then allow people to access that information and maybe programmatically then build on top of that? So I might have a system that says it's automatically only going to make storage deals against storage providers that can prove a certain level of sustainability, for example. So that might be something they do there. How was that, Aadi? Was there anything else to kind of chime in on there?
Yeah, I would say one thing, thanks for going through that, Matt. One thing is that we have a couple of workshops next week around a couple of the programmable storage market ideas that might be worthwhile going to and talking to people about. If you scroll to the right of this table, there's folks inside PL and FVM that are happy to talk to you about these ideas and want to learn more about how you want to tackle them. We have resources that we've linked to so that you can attempt to brainstorm or learn more about these concepts and what underpins them, and keep your eyes peeled. The workshops are going to definitely drive more content, more material your way that'll help you figure out how and what to build in those particular categories. So June 8th and parts of next week are going to be critical for that. So
yeah, is June 8th Monday? I can't remember if June 8th is that Monday. No, it's a bit later than that, I think. There's also some workshops. If you go to the ETH Global site and look through the schedule, there's also a series of workshops on Monday. So I'll be doing a workshop on on building there. My colleague Zach will be doing a workshop, I believe, as well. So there's a number of workshops as well. So keep an eye on the schedule there. Now, just to quickly kind of cover as well, there's a number of other projects as well within Protocol Labs also have bounties. So, for example, just quickly touching on a few of these, Bacchiao, which is a compute over data platform. So they have a prize pool as well, and some examples there of projects around decentralized compute. Filecoin Saturn is a decentralized content delivery network, and they have a prize pool there as well regarding applications that build upon their decentralized distribution network. Interplanetary Consensus, I just mentioned that. That is a scalability, horizontal scalability for Filecoin, and they have some prizes there as well. IPFS, of course, which is where all of this kind of started. So IPFS have some prizes there as well. So if you're using IPFS or you are, improving what's going on within IPFS, there's that there. libp2p, many people might not realize libp2p is a library that underpins a lot of these decentralized systems and even other networks as well. I believe, I think Ethereum 2 and Solana, I think both use libp2p underneath for how their nodes actually communicate with each other. So they actually have some prizes there as well. Just looking here within here for other PL ones. Oh, Filecoin Data Tools. Filecoin Data Tools, you might have heard of a project called Estuary, which is an aggregator. Filecoin Data Tools is the next generation of the tooling behind what will become Estuary version 2. And I will be doing some examples of some of that on Monday as well for how you can do aggregation from FVM. NFT storage and Web3 storage are also aggregators, also part of, also spun off from Protocol Labs as well. And they specifically work with, well, NFT storage, as the name might suggest, also specifically works with NFTs, but they have a bunch of prizes there as well. DRAND. So DRAND, distributed randomness. One last one from within PL. And so this is a randomness beacon on the network that allows you to access random numbers in a verifiable manner as well on the network. So this is a functionality that is often included or provided by tools like Chainlink, I believe, one of them, while DRAND is one that provides native verifiable randomness on the Filecoin network. So you can use that. So there you go. That's a quick rundown to hopefully give you some ideas of what to build. There is lots of prizes there. There's lots of projects there. Please feel free to build stuff that uses multiple different technologies, both from within Protocol Labs and within all of our partners there. If you go through there, there's a whole series of prizes there, a whole lot of partners there. So please feel free to kind of join these together. And I really look forward to seeing what you build. And I'm going to be hanging out in Discord as well as some of my colleagues from the DevRel team specifically. So Sarah, who you heard from just now, and also my colleague Zach. Like I said, we'll be doing some workshops next week as well. So keep in tune with that. Anything else to cover, Aadi?
No, I think just have a lot of fun building. We're really excited to see what you guys create. And there's a lot of really cool things to build across PL and within SCM.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thanks a lot, all. I think that's us.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Aadi. This was really cool, and I kind of loved this being a work session and a talk and everything else, because this really is effectively going through everything line by line and talking about all the opportunities. So I really appreciate you taking the time and telling us about all the things people can do.